Well, a historic decision from the Supreme Court. The High Court says the state of Alabama has to redraw its districts.
Yeah, the justices stepped in this case and ruled that Alabama likely violated the Voting Rights Act.
Continuing coverage following a Supreme Court ruling, how some see congressional districts being redrawn in the state of Alabama. The Attorney General.
Evan Milligan. I'm from Montgomery, Alabama. Well, let me say the whole thing. I was born in Houston, Texas, raised in Montgomery with a little bit of Birmingham in there, but I'm a Montgomery guy. We are in, I believe this is Kelly Ingram Park, in the beautiful Civil Rights District in downtown Birmingham. We got 16th Street Baptist Church right there. We got Civil Rights Museum right here. And this park is where the protesters gathered. I believe it was a 1963 Children's March. It's a very, very sacred ground, historical place. We're here today, really building on, standing on the shoulders of the people that are memorialized and celebrated in this park and in that museum. At that church, because of redistricting, voting rights lawsuit. My co-plaintiffs and I have been involved with this case since fall of 2021. So this is going on 4 years, and we've won in the preliminary injunction phase with the federal court that's here in Birmingham. We won on appeal at the U.S. Supreme Court when the state appealed that. We went back to the federal court in 2023, won again. State appealed to the Supreme Court again. They sided again with us. So now this is the fifth time we've been in front of a federal court on this case. And we're just gonna keep at it until it's done. There's a lot of things that's changing around me right now, so I every time I come to this park, I actually think about 9/11, September 11, 2001. I had just started my sophomore year at Birmingham Southern College, a few blocks west of here, and that night after 9/11 happened, the whole city was so still, and there were students at the school that were, a few from New York. They were worried about their family members had died, and they were trying to figure out what was going on. Was there going to be any type of issues for our Muslim peers, or for any of the students from Southeast Asia, or it was a conversation that we were just having. And everything was cool. Birmingham Southern was a real chill campus, but one of my homeboys and I, we left the campus and came down, and I had this old camcorder. This was before cell phones had smartphones, and we just went around downtown talking to people about what had happened, and spent a lot of time in this park talking. There were folks that were unhoused and still gathered here, and they just talked to us, and we had something to give to eat or whatever we would. And I just remember that because that was like, it was a stillness before the response, before the invasion of Iraq, before everything that kind of led to that 20-year military campaign and those trillions of dollars being spent and all of the lives that were lost. And it just really reminds me of the importance of leadership and the information that leaders base decisions on. In that instance, look at the information now, most people will say, it's popular to say we shouldn't have gone to Iraq. But in that moment when everybody was scared, it was just a stillness. There weren't any, you hear these airplanes in the background now, there was none of that. Nobody was really driving, it was just quiet. It really matters who's in that seat to make the call. And so when black voters are not provided, when our voting rights are dismissed unlawfully, when we're given a second class sort of citizen status, and that robs us of the opportunity to weigh in on who our leaders are going to be to make those tough calls. That robs us of the opportunity to develop our own selves and our own emerging leaders to prepare them to be in that situation, to make the call that is most reflective of our values, of our community needs. And if we're supposed to be in competition in the U.S. and democracy and all of the things that they say is supposed to be competition, the best idea wins. The person that works the hardest, has the most collaborative, coordinated team, that's who's supposed to win. So if we're unfairly and unlawfully denied an opportunity to enter those competitions and to do things that bring resources back to our communities like anyone else, that's not something we're going for. We have never gone for that. In terms of resistance in black communities, at least some of us have never gone for it. I'm from the group of people that are not going for that. My co-plaintiffs are, and that's a big part of what's motivating us to stay the course and to see this through.